Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Non-Fiction. This is our 10th episode, and thank you, listeners, and viewers, I should say, because they're viewers.
Right.
We're on YouTube, Non-Fiction. As always, we're here with Reek.
What up?
Shauna.
Yes.
Ill Will. We have a special guest in the house today. We are going to talk about mental health, but more importantly, we're going to talk about him. We're gonna talk about him. We're just gonna have a discussion. He's a good friend of mine. Been knowing him for 10 plus years now.
Yeah.
And this guy, I may get emotional because this guy, he is a true friend, and I say that not because he's sitting in front of me, but he will give you the shirt off his back if you asked for it, if you needed it, anything. And he is one of the most passionate guys I've ever met in my entire life. When he puts his mind to something, he gets it done. He sees it through. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to Non-Fiction, Mr. Dave Sadler.
Thanks, Will. That's a tough introduction to follow.
Well, all of it's the truth, for real.
Right.
It is. It really is.
I appreciate it, buddy.
This man is a former U.S. Marine?
I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years.
8 years.
Yep.
He has a lovely wife, 2 lovely twins, and you guys also have your own production company. We're going to talk about that right now.
Yeah.
And we're going to lead into some other things. Can you tell us about your production company that you and your wife have?
Yep. Well, first of all, thanks for letting me on. I watch the episodes. I gave Will some feedback about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks ago. I was like, hey man, this is what I would do. Try to get some more viewers on. And I guess I talked myself into being on the show.
Yeah.
So lesson learned, keep your mouth shut, folks. But no, like I said, thanks for letting me come on. Now me and my wife, we started E5 production company, and the E5, I was an enlisted 5, which is a sergeant in the Marine Corps. So we just went with that, and we just got done. You were there. You guys should have been there.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday,
absolutely.
Veterans Day. We were at the
Saturday.
Majestic, and we put our first concert on. I brought in the ultimate Garth Brooks tribute guy, and we raised a bunch of money for local nonprofit Project Headspace and Timing, which they take care of veterans. They get them out of the house, take them hiking, biking, walking, canoeing, rafting, all this stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah. So their thing is they want, I mean, we've all heard it, right? Like idle minds, right? Like that's when bad stuff happens.
Workshop.
So if you're going mountain biking with a bunch of dudes, you don't really have time to think about the bad things in life, right? Like you're exhausted, so you're at home sleeping, right?
Right.
So that's the type of stuff that they are engaged with. They got a lot of cool sponsors, helpers in town. What's that place in Moments? Shooting place.
Right on Target?
No.
Border Town.
Border Town. They close it down on Sundays, and like they teach veterans that are with Project Headspace and Timing the shooting bow and arrow.
Oh wow!
Like the compound bow.
I did not know that.
Which, like, I don't know if you can just go there and like they'll teach you that, but like never in a million years would I have learned how to do that. I always thought it was gonna hurt, like when you pull it back. You know, I didn't want to get snapped with it, look like an idiot. But like, man, it's so cool. Like when I go to things like that with them, like I want to participate, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to feel like an idiot because everyone's competing, right? But like sometimes you just sit back and like, life's tough. Everyone's got their own problems. Mm-hmm. Dude, there's a guy out there that like I believe he was a Marine. Name is Brad. Lost his vision. Like he could see like
close.
He can see that like you guys are sitting there, but like he couldn't be like, oh, that's Will type of thing, right? Dude, they taught this dude how to shoot a bow and arrow out there. And like he was having a blast. They just made the target a little bit bigger so that he could see like what he was looking at type of thing. And I'm like, I can't compete with that. But like how ridiculous is it that like I could never imagine being blind or having any sort of thing.
Right.
Like, how many times do you take for granted that you just look at your phone?
Yeah.
Like, this guy can't, like, but because of this group, like, he's allowed to shoot. Like, that's got to make a guy feel like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gotta
Absolutely.
raise that level up, right?
Uplift him. Yeah.
And I mean, when we put the production company together, yeah, I would love to make money, you know, make tons of money putting concerts on, right? Like, what a cool life, right? But like, I'm blessed with my job. Like, my bills are paid. Clearly, we could all use a little extra money, right? Like, if I gave you an extra 5,000, you'd be cool with it, right?
Without a doubt.
but I'm saying, like, it just feels like it feels good. Like Saturday, Will, you were there. Like, I mean, there was money flying around. We're gonna have a huge donation. Literally every dollar outside of like paying for the artist and all of that stuff is going to them, and it's gonna be over $7,000.
Oh, that's.
I mean, like
that's
really good,
wonderful.
Right? Like,
that's wonderful.
I'm not one to pat myself on the back, but I'm also like,
well, you deserve this one.
Yeah,
You deserve this one. You really do.
That's incredible idea y'all came up with to help people like that and get them involved.
Appreciate it. It just like Will said, like, listen, I get it, dude. Like, I think we're going to talk about it. Like, I have a Garth Brooks shirt on now.
We're going to get to that. Yes.
Everybody knows, if you know who I am, right? Everybody knows that I'm a diehard Garth Brooks fan. It's the only thing that's been around, like the only thing that's consistent. Like, you guys talk about music all the time, right? And I don't know who it is for you, but there's somebody that you've listened to their music, whatever it is, since you were little.
Right.
And you could turn it on right now and you feel like you were 12-year-old Darikus, right? Like, you feel that no matter what. And it's like, I said it Saturday, I think, the only thing in my life from 13 to 43 that's ever been consistent is Garth Brooks, right? Think about the girlfriends you go through. Think about the changes when you're in high school, the military, right? Like, when I left this country on a plane to go to Iraq, I had an MP3 player with Garth Brooks in it. When I came back, I listened to Garth Brooks. When my children were born, Garth Brooks. When I got married, Garth, right? Like, that's always been the consistent thing.
Right.
And like, I just happened to meet this guy that is the gentleman that we brought in. And he just so happens to be the best guy in the country at what he does. So I brought him in. And like, to me, the money was great that we're going to donate, right? But what I loved was the fact that Will saw me. I was standing on the corner of the stage looking back at everybody. And I mean, Will was sitting down, but you could see him going like, and so then like, you're just looking around and you see like my parents, they're in their 70s, right? They're having a great time. You see guys from work that are people late 30s, people in the balconies with their cell phone lights going on. And it's like, dude, that is so cool. Like, right now, everybody is so happy.
Right.
And like, I don't know. To me, that was where I got the most satisfaction out of it. So
that's wonderful.
Good.
That's great. Wonderful.
Good.
So we spoke briefly about your military career. What motivated you to get into the military?
This is Bradley, Bourbonnais, and Kankakee.
Yeah, it is.
And like, I know this is
there's not much to do here.
I know this is a terrible answer.
Two choices.
I know this is a terrible answer.
But it's the truth.
But it's honestly what happened, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was dating my wife, and I'm like working at Menards, working at Family Video, like working at all these places, and I'm like, I don't want to go to college. Like, I just don't, right? Like, but what am I gonna do? Like, I can't own a Family Video, right? Like, when I work there, like, you can only get so high,
right?
And I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I just like talk to people, and they're like, you know, if you could do the military, once you come out of the military, doors open for you, right? And like, when they say doors open for you, it's my understanding at CSL, if they hire me, they get some sort of tax break on it, right? Which puts me ahead of you. If it's me and you that are getting ready to get hired, and they can save $700, $7,000, whatever it is for hiring a veteran, then like that's what immediately when I was speaking to guys, they were like, yeah, you jump ahead of people. I'm like, oh, well, that seems smart. And they everything is covered when you get there, right? Like when I got married, all my wife's medical stuff, the kids, all of that. And it was like, how am I going to pay for that if I'm working at Family Video?
So you got married in the military?
I did. I got married in the military. I wish I had like the G.I. Joe answer for you, right? Where I'm like, you know, I wanted to go, you know, stomp on Saddam Hussein's head or whatever. But I was just looking, I was trying to think of a plan going forward. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was like luckily people spoke to me and they spoke to me real and were like, listen, man, there's nothing here. If you join, like when you come out, the veteran thing is going to help you get jobs. And I was like, you know, And then of course, when you have to choose, I figured I should choose the best one. So I chose the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
How was your basic training?
I'm glad. Let me take a drink. I'm glad
That's
I did
like
it.
the number one question when I talk to military folks.
So I went in when I was 22, right? So I went in June of that year, right? So in June, what do you have in June? High school graduations, right?
Yes.
So I'm in there at 22. I'm 4 years older than all these kids, right? So all these kids are coming out and they're like, oh, look at me. I just graduated high school. I'm like, and they were just running their suck like all day, right? And I was just running a lot, like doing my thing, right? Just trying to get through it all. And it's like all the attention was on like, you know, 18-year-old guy that thinks that he's the best. So I had the 4 years on all those guys. So the mental part was more of it. And once again, I had great people talk to me before I went to boot camp. And they were like, listen, it's a job. Like if you two are the drill instructor, your job is to get me to graduate, right? Like your job isn't to say, oh, fail, because now your boss is going to be like,
what the hell?
Will, what are you doing?
Right.
Like you can't get these, you can't train them to be basically trained Marines.
Right.
So like having just that like thought in your head that they're really not going to kill you. You know what I mean? Like that it comes across that way that like these are the meanest people. Like the stuff that you see on TV is legit, right? Like it just having that little thing in the back of your head that like, listen, when you're doing push-ups like in the squad bay, like all of that stuff is scheduled out ahead of time. Like they know that they're gonna like burn you or whatever it is. Like they know that that's going to happen before, like it's already scheduled out. And it's like knowing those little tricks helped a lot. And now, like with all this technology, if you Google right now Marine Corps boot camp, like the whole schedule is on there.
Okay.
Like it literally,
so you know before you even go.
Yeah. Now, let me say this though. Knowing that you're going to run the obstacle course next Thursday and going out and running the obstacle course are two completely different things. You know what I'm saying? So like, and for me, like all of that stuff, knowing it was good, but it's all mental, right? Like they start talking about like, oh, your wife, you got a wife, you got a girlfriend. Oh, well, she's sleeping with Will, or like, you know, like they're trying to break you down. And that's the whole purpose of boot camp. They want whatever Dorikas was when he left Kankakee, they want him to be their way when he leaves San Diego 13 weeks afterwards.
Oh, it's 13 weeks?
13 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Which is ridiculous.
Yes.
I think the Air Force is 6. I think the Army is 8.
Yep.
Like, I couldn't. Can you imagine? Like, listen, like I'm on my phone. Like I text people. Like I text you dumb stuff, right? But like, can you imagine 13 weeks without your phone?
Exactly.
Right. Well,
I mean, how long we've been recording? Like 6 minutes? I probably got like 8 missed messages.
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting your phone in 13 weeks?
Well, you got to think. What year did you go in?
2002.
2002?
Yeah.
Was you ever concerned about like you know how America got tagged in 2001?
Yeah.
Was you ever concerned about situations like that?
No, I that was part of it, right? Like once all that happened, right? Like it brings things into perspective, right? Like just when things happen, when you see like people our age that pass away, you start thinking like, oh my God, like is driving a forklift what I want to be doing all the time, right? Like you start putting things into perspective. But then I was like, man, like what if I'm in Chicago and there's an attack? Like this is before I joined. I was like, I got to do something. Like I got to get living, right? Like, and I was like, I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to do all of that, right? So I'm like, how can I get started living? And that's where I joined the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So you mentioned briefly Garth Brooks, who's on your shirt. When did your love? Well, yeah, I guess you could call passion for Garth Brooks. Well, let's call it passion, love for Garth Brooks.
Listen, folks, it's ridiculous. Like I'm fully aware that the whole infatuation, the 2 tattoos, like I get it. But like
when did that start? Like,
so I believe it was like August of 93. I think it was 93 when the Central Park concert was on HBO.
Okay.
Dude, like if you watch that concert, that dude, he played in front of like 800,000 people.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like when I saw it, dude, this dude comes and he's like levitates, like, and he's like he pops from underneath the stage. And these people are like, they got like the shirts off. They're all like waving them around. Like they got these big poster boards. And I'm like, what is this? Because I'm 13, right? Like I've never been to a concert, so I don't know what to expect. But I'm just like, dude, this guy here. And then you just start listening to his music. And it's like, yeah. I mean, when you listen to his music, it brings you back to what you saw at Central Park. And it's like, yeah.
So at 13, you understood what he was talking about.
I mean, maybe not.
Okay. But
maybe
it was
not.
just...
But you know what? Here's a perfect example, right? Who's that? Is it Louis Capaldi? You know who that is?
Yeah.
He's got like Tourette's or whatever, and he sings.
Yep.
He's got one song, Someone You Love. Is that what it's something like that? Whatever the name of the song is. But like I've probably listened to that song like 40 times in the last 3 days because for whatever reason, like just the way that his voice goes up, it just like resonates, right? And I like it. And I can't explain it, but like you just feel it. I feel like when I was like teenager, that's kind of how it was with Garth. That
just later on, you develop the lyric.
And then you start diving into the lyrics, and you're like, well, this is one about like him sleeping with his teacher. Yeah, like you know, like just weird stuff, right? Like, but yeah, no, it's you're absolutely right. Like. Now, to me, it's at the point where, like, when I listen to songs, I can go back and like place where I was, like where we saw a concert there.
Yeah,
like I can place certain things. And
memories are beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I just like I know we're talking a little mental health coming up, but like,
oh boy,
you okay?
No,
you should have brought a water, bro.
Jake, you got some water, Jake.
I should.
Let me take a water so that doesn't happen.
Okay, you take.
I got another question for you. So when you was in the military, you think Garth Brooks, you listening to that, helped you through that? Like help you?
No, help me through. I think no, like I think it's a safety blanket, right?
Okay.
It's a safety blanket,
Makes
right?
sense.
Like there's stresses that come along with all of it. Right. And like, I tell you, for me, the negative for like why I got out of the Marine Corps is because there's too many alpha males,
Mm.
right? I can vividly remember being in Iraq outside of our tents. And like I think we may have had a fire or like we were just sitting around, right? I vividly remember this dude being like, we were just talking, like just like you guys do, right? We were just BS and just doing our thing, right? And this dude's like, yeah, man. He's like, I was the varsity quarterback. I was the prom king. And I'm like, bruh, we are in Iraq right now. And like
missiles
literally,
flying
like
over our head.
you could see stuff like fly over our camp and like try to hit the flight line.
Right.
And I'm like, I could care less if you were the quarterback.
Right, yeah.
Well,
If you were an NFL quarterback, like I could care. Like we are on a completely different team right now.
Maybe that was his way to cope.
Which it very well could have been. But it was just, there were so many people that were like, I'm this. But like none of that matters.
Okay.
Like
Right.
we're on a, like
I got
we're
you.
on a completely different team, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a forklift driver, right, and we're us four going somewhere, and somebody has an injury, and I'm first aid qualified, nobody cares if I drive a forklift.
Right.
They care. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to adapt to where you're at.
Yeah,
And
They
these
hit me
dudes,
up. That's all I
Okay.
want.
I mean, these
Okay.
dudes were just like, and then you get, so like that whole conversation, right? Like this dude's like, yeah, I was quarterback of the football team. So then you got to hear about the other guy that was like, oh yeah, well I was the point guard of the basketball team, or I was the valedictorian.
Okay.
Bruh, we are 5,000 miles away from home. Nobody cares.
Right.
Literally nobody cares.
Yeah.
Mind blowing
Sound
stuff.
like some good.
But that was, I mean, yeah.
Your experience, man.
Yeah.
I was like, I was just a backup on the baseball team. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh man. So before you went into the military, what was your perception, and then how did that change when you got there?
Good question.
That's a good question. Can I relate it to something
Yeah.
at our employer?
Yes.
Is that frowned upon?
Is that
No. Well,
as long as we don't go into
well,
specifics at the
well.
job?
I
No.
won't say nothing. No, I would say this much. The perception that you have of the military and the perception of that you have of other businesses and stuff is the exact same. I thought, like, when you went in there, that like me and Dorikas would be great friends. Like, if I needed a babysitter, Dorikas would be like, "Hey, man, I'll watch your kids. Go do what you want." Like, you know, like everybody's together, like all of that, and it's not. It's not.
What do you mean?
Just like,
Everybody.
I mean, when you leave work, like me and Will might hang out,
yeah.
but if we all work together, you might be over at Dorikas' house, like,
Yeah.
and never try to learn who I am. Like, I just thought it was going to be way more like
Close knit. Yeah.
than it was. And it wasn't. It was
wow.
literally, yeah.
That's
And that's just I wasn't in an infantry unit. I was, I just did my job just like everybody else and went home. And maybe that's different, like in an infantry unit where you got another guy's life in your hands and all that kind of stuff. But where I was at, it was like, it was work, come home. And quite frankly, it was disappointing, right? Like I've got some friends from when I was in that I talk to weekly, monthly, whatever. And I wish there were more. And
Okay.
it's just not,
Okay.
it's just not a thing,
Okay.
and it sucks.
So they paint the picture like it's going to be a brotherhood or sisterhood,
Yeah.
and it's
and
for you.
I
It
guess-
wasn't.
yeah,
should say.
I guess the problem for me, right, is at work in the Marine Corps that like everybody's working together. They're all working towards like, in different jobs, right? Like, hey, this Jeep is stuck in the mud. Everybody's trying to work to get it out, right? Like, but then like, ding, everybody's like, it's like turning the lights on and the cockroaches go running. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
wow.
And it's just
Wow.
not what I thought.
So another question is, how was, when you was deciding to go to the Marine Corps, how was your parents look at you going, especially after 9/11?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I don't know what they thought. Much like I don't know what they thought about the concert, right? Like, now that the concert's over, they were like, "Oh, that was amazing."
Mhm.
And when the Marine Corps decision was done, like they were proud, right? Like they were like, "Oh, like it." They tell you 1 in 10 people who sign up for the Marine Corps, like make it in,
Yeah.
right? Or make it through the like, pre-qualifications to go to boot camp, right? So like they were proud, like they threw a party and all that, but like never really sat down and was like, maybe you should go to the Army, maybe you should do the Air Force, whatever.
Wow.
Like never did that.
Sound like they were open-minded parents.
Yeah, they didn't stop me.
There you
So
go.
they did. I don't know if they could have stopped me, but they didn't say. They didn't persuade either way.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, they let you just pick your own decision.
yeah, they should have persuaded me. Think of all the problems I would have had to deal with.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive into some good ones.
Some stuff.
Some stuff.
Some
Yeah, let's
stuff.
dive into
Hey.
some stuff.
You got to get a drink of water on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Let's all get a swig.
Yeah.
'cause we're gonna-
We act like this is alcohol. So
To me,
take a
it is.
shot.
Hey, what are y'all doing with them little bottles?
Man, just, the big one.
I should have been like, what do they do? Like where they take the label off?
blur
so
the,
they-
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so we
ain't
don't have
got
to pay
no-
Dasani?
Yeah.
I ain't
Unless
paying them. I'm not
Dasani-
paying
unless-
them anyway.
Hey
I'm not
man, unless they want to reach out.
Yeah.
You're right.
Dasani wanna
We
sponsor
advertising
the
for
show?
y'all.
Dasani?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's this?
Great value. Yeah.
This says great value. You could have just took that off. People
Yeah.
would have thought that was
I know.
$800-900 bottle of water.
Yeah. See, yeah.
Dorica's,
But I'm not, yeah, I should get paid something
That-
from them.
that's right, that's right.
You know.
So you're in the Marine Corps. Okay. We established that. We established the Garth Brooks. Wonderful. Love
It's
it.
crazy. It's crazy. It's not wonderful. It's crazy.
No, it's wonderful. It's awesome. If Tupac Shakur was alive, I'd still have the obsession with him too. But he's not with us. Or he might be. Who knows?
That's a whole nother story.
It's a whole different show. What? How do I don't even know how I want to.
Just say it. We're friends.
We are friends.
Just say it.
I don't even know what I want to say, Dave. To be honest with you, I don't. I just want to know.
Show me the question on your phone, and
Well,
I'll
I got
answer
a bunch
it.
of. I got a bunch.
No,
of
show me
questions.
which one you want to talk about.
Well, the one. Oh, here we go. How did or does the military experience affect your life today?
It can be both positive and negative, right? So when I was in the Marine Corps, I worked in the post office, which could be a positive, right? Could be a negative. Some positives, right, are like when I go get a haircut, I get like $4 off. Like, like you get a veterans deal,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's positives. I can get schooling for free because of my disability rating. Like, I don't pay taxes on my house. I don't pay for my license plate. So there's positives, right?
Mhm.
There's negatives. Like, I stood for 2 days for the concert, and now I have to keep moving. Like, people see me moving because my back is on a scale of 1 to 10, like a 17 right now. Bad. So, like, I got to keep moving, right? Like, that
Mm.
sucks. And then there's the mental side of it,
Yes.
which I'm sure we're going
That's
to
what-
dive into.
That's what we want to dive into right now.
And there's people that we both know, that we all know, who think it's hilarious that I worked at the post office.
It's okay.
And it's
Jake Tissue.
cool because
Wow.
I struggle with it, but I talk through what I have to
Right.
because it's not. My problem is I don't want to make people mad, right? Like, I don't want to upset anybody, but my service is my service.
Mhm.
Right.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely content with the fact that I never shot anybody, never saw anybody die, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool with that. There's people in the military, in the Marine Corps that I know that were like, I didn't see either one of my kids being born like, I'm a real Marine, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a second. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Yeah.
like I'm 100% glad that I was there to see my kids born.
Yeah,
And
that doesn't make
let's
you tough.
let's just say this: you were 100% Marine.
Yeah, but
So
I'm saying, what I'm saying is mental health wise.
Right.
When I go to an employer and I'm working, I'm there to work.
Right.
Like I'm there to do my job, just like when I was in the Marine Corps. Right. I don't care what anybody else's experience was. I respect it all. And listen, me and we know we know veterans.
Yes.
We can joke about me not being a real Marine. Like we can have that conversation.
Right.
We cannot have that conversation.
Right. I want to better understand it because I'm kind of. Someone thought it was hilarious of the job that you chose.
I did, and so here, it's a great question. Here's the thing: I didn't choose the job. You can go in, and if you have an ASVAB score, that's the right.
Yes.
You can say, I want to be an aircraft mechanic.
Right.
Right. So if you're an aircraft mechanic, now when you get out, you have 8 years experience, 12. Right now you can go to Delta and be like, yo, I got 12 years experience from the greatest, right?
Right.
So you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I went in with an open contract.
Okay.
So I took an ASVAB, and what it boils down to is if I read a bunch of stuff, I can remember it pretty quickly, right? Like I can remember like there's a group in the Marine Corps. It's called Second LAR, Light Armored Reconnaissance, right? And they were like a certain box, like when we put their mail in. Well, after a while, I'm good at like remembering, like it's over here. Like I'm good at that.
Okay.
Well, that's what you passed on the ASVAB. So they're like, well, if that is a skill set that he excels at, he should be in the post office.
Okay.
Right? Like if you're really good with numbers, then maybe you're in accounting or whatever, right? So I just did the job that they gave me, right? And I mean, certain people just, they think it's funny. And when they think it's funny, what I've learned talking through the VA, talking through all of this, right, is that it's a lot of their insecurities.
That was I was thinking that,
like deflecting.
Oh yeah,
but
it has nothing to do with you.
Okay.
But what is irritating is, let's say Dorikas is the culprit, right? And we're all sitting around, and this is a bigger picture for like life and the world that we're in right now. You clearly see that he's deflecting, but nobody ever says, why are you being such an idiot? Like, why are you deflecting your problems onto me? And like, that's just a bigger problem. Like people won't, you can put all the ads on TV that you got to speak up, but nobody does it in practice.
Okay.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And then, and all of it is just frustrating because I feel like there's, I don't want to say misconceptions about me, but like people are like, seems like he's irritated a lot at work. Well, it's twofold. I sort of am, but I'm irritated because I just want to work. Like, I don't want people to talk about my experience. Come up and ask me. I'm willing to come on a podcast. And if you want to talk till 7:00 tonight, let's talk to 7:00 tonight.
Okay.
Because then when you see me at work, you can say something completely like now you understand.
I got a better understanding of who you are.
But instead, like that's just not how it works. And take work out of it, take military out of it, right? You don't like country music, but like, what if you were just talking to me and I just asked you right now if you heard about the concert and you said you didn't. That's no fault of your own. But what if we were talking about the present instead of everything that happened in the past, right? Like, I'm cool. Like, it's Veterans Day. Like, it just passed. We can talk about military service, but instead of dwelling in all of that stuff that's in the past, what about the present? What about the next episode that you're going to talk about, right? I just feel like people's minds, like we talked about it a little bit, right? You said memories feel good, right? That's great. But like, I don't know one person that just wants to reflect on their military career, because I feel like maybe this is a gross miscalculation, but I feel like everybody is like, yeah, I did it. It's over. Like, let's move on. I don't think people are like, yeah, I did 8 years. It was great. Woo. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's not a thing.
Wow.
I feel, but
wow. I don't even know what to.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
You just saying some deep stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
I'm not trying, and I'm not trying to.
No. It's okay. This is the open
it's
forum.
it's definitely okay.
So that can lead up to
I'm
my
loving
next
this.
question. That can lead up to my next question, which you're talking about. Is there anything you wish civilians understood about military service?
I don't think. I think that all of the videos that you see online, like if you watch them, I think they're all very accurate.
Okay.
Keep in mind that they're on TV. There's cameras there.
Yeah.
So there's stuff like you hear people, like you hear the old guys. They're like, "Oh, the drill instructor put their hands on me and blah blah blah." Never happened to me. But it was a mental battle the whole time, because everything that you're thinking, like we got married right before I joined the Marine Corps, right? So like when they're like, "Oh, your girlfriend or your wife is sleeping with the neighbor or whatever," well, I don't have a phone. I don't like if I write a letter, what I'm thinking right now, she doesn't see for 6 days. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just when you're laying in bed, you're like this. And you're just like, well, tomorrow's gonna suck.
Wow.
But what's I'm terrible at math. What's 13 times 7? I don't know how many days that is.
Like,
entirely too many days.
Yeah.
And it just repeats day after day. And all you're doing is going, I wonder if there's money in my bank account. You know, like,
yeah.
And I have zero thought that my wife would do that. But when they're doing it
when
on
the seed
purpose,
is planted,
right.
you can't help but to
And I
imagine.
And once again, step back from all of that, right? It's all a game. They're the feelings that you have when you're there is exactly what they want you to feel.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like if you ever watch,
So would you say they're programming you?
No, because this lady told me. I think I showed you this before. This lady isn't a big. We don't align politically. This lady, so she unfriended me on Facebook. But she told me that I needed to be reprogrammed because of who I voted for, right? Which
that shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter, right? But like, that's the government, like the service, right? Like the military. That's the government reprogrammed. I mean,
people try to hit you hard.
People would go out their way to put somebody down.
And it has nothing to do with the other person.
Yeah. 100%. You're 100%
People literally go out their way to
it gets to me.
And it's just nonsense.
Yeah,
the whole time. The whole time is just nonsense.
Yeah. No,
you'd be reprogrammed to like country music.
But what I'm saying though, like to be reprogrammed, right? Would you say that when you were 20, were you ready to do stuff by the book the way that they want it done? They want it done for a certain reason because it's safe. They know how to train people to shoot an M16. Shooting an M16, right? Like they're going to train you the way that they want it so that we all do it the right way. If you go to Border Town and they teach you how to shoot an M16, right? Like they just want you to pay the money for the lesson. Like you have to be programmed to do it the right way, right? Like you at 20 and me at 20, or you at 22, me at 22, after boot camp and not going to boot camp, I would assume one of us is ready to go to Iraq and one of us is not. Right. But like, I think reprogrammed is a tough word.
Yeah.
Like,
that's very tough because I mean, it's just like your driver's test. like they can program on you doing 10 and 2, but more than likely you're gonna drive what's comfortable for you anyway.
100%.
You know,
And that's what it is.
that's
It's individual
whatever's comfortable for
base.
you.
But what I'm saying is the programming comes to. We spent a full week. So I went to boot camp in San Diego. We spent 3 or 4 weeks at Camp Pendleton, which is up like in the mountains, right?
Mm-hmm.
We spent a week. I kid you not. They had like a 50-gallon, 100-gallon bucket, right? And it had these target silhouettes painted on it. And for a week, we sat there with the gun out, no bullets, no nothing. And you were just practicing, like
Just
keeping your
holding
arm, like keeping it here and like dry
Oh,
firing
wow.
on this bucket. Like we were just sitting in a big circle, just.
Mhm.
And I'm saying, like, is that being programmed, or what they're doing is making, like, these are the fundamentals, right? Like that's what they're
Mhm.
teaching, and they don't have time to be like, oh, you're doing this wrong. Like they don't have time. They don't have time for it because there's 150
Right.
people that they're trying to learn. So it's also, like you said, people want to keep running their mouths. It's also people who have never never once, like, ever supported the military, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
It's always those people.
Yeah. You got
Every
something to
time.
say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got something to say.
I mean, the lady who I vividly remember is a lawyer. You don't see me saying, like, I object to whatever your stupidity. You know what I mean? Like, I don't go to her office and be like, oh, it looks like your paperwork's all messed up here.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, stay in your lane, lady.
Yeah.
Wow.
I see a lot of that on social media, and it
Oh,
burns
my
me
God.
up. It's like,
Yeah.
just be quiet.
Yeah.
You take it for what it's worth for yourself.
Social media would be way more fun and way more productive. People listen more than they typed. You agree?
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Mm.
That's good right
Absolutely.
Right? Like,
You take in
without a
what's for
doubt.
you.
there. Yeah.
And what's
Yeah.
not for you,
I mean,
you just let it go.
Like
Mm.
this. So this lady, I posted something. I don't remember. Like, in fairness, I was probably being a jerk. I don't remember what I posted. And she commented on it, and that's when she went on this rant. She was like, "You need to be reprogrammed. Like, you're a mafia. This, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay." And I was like, "Time out." I post 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, and I post some dumb stuff.
Yeah.
And you scroll past every one of those.
Right.
You scroll past every one of those.
But
When-
you stop on the one.
When I say, hey, I'm having a concert. Anybody want to buy a ticket? Right past that one. Right past that one. Hey, my kid's selling popcorn. Whoop, right past that
Yeah.
one. But you chose to stop on this one and
Right.
make this comment. You could have just right past it. Nope.
Huh?
Nope.
Huh?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
that's
But that's how
That's
how
social.
people is. People are just
they're more inclined to go to the negative opposed to the positive.
yeah.
yeah.
That's why
When
you
did
see
that-
it's
when
so
did-
many changes going on
Yeah.
social media.
When did that start? Like,
Shoot, that's probably just
I don't know.
Oh.
That's a good question. I don't know when it started. I mean, anything you put on social media, and if people like it, they gonna flock to it. If they don't like it, they got something negative to say.
I mean, like,
Yep.
to go back to the concert thing, like, how long have we been I've been like 2 years, 3 years.
Yes.
Right. We've been talking about it.
Yes.
And like, everybody knows that I like Garth Brooks.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
So when I put it up, the immediate reaction is, oh, like, more of this Garth Brooks
Here we
stuff.
go again.
Right.
Yeah.
But people have no problem driving to Tinley Park,
Mm.
going to, I just saw people that we both know going to Detroit, going to, like, I don't know, Louisiana,
Yeah.
Colorado,
Yeah.
all over the place. Got no problem going to those concerts, right? There's literally a concert
In your backyard.
3 miles from where everybody lives. Your coworker is putting it on,
Yeah.
and you listen. I get it. Garth Brooks, not your guy. I respect that.
Right.
I respect it.
Right.
But you can't. People can't share my event on Facebook. You did. I appreciate. But I'm saying, like, I'm not.
I
Who-
get exactly what you
Who
where you coming
who was
from.
they, like the music fest is over
just
here.
the support. The support.
Yeah,
Because
that's what it's
if
about.
Dorica
Support.
shares it, somebody's gonna see. Oh, somebody. 1 out of maybe 20
But
people
it's-
would say,
it's-
Right.
"Okay, I'm gonna go to that."
but 1 out of 20, 1 out of 20, 1 out of 20.
Right.
Yeah,
I just
yes.
made $75 bucks.
Yes,
You're doing it for a good cause.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, you
But
could
yeah.
share.
So it doesn't matter what
You know what?
who's on the
With social
stage.
media, I'm on social media just for like the comedy stuff. I just watch the videos that people put up and stuff like that. And like I don't really post about like my family or nothing like that. You know, I might post my daughter, her birthday or something like that, but you know, because
you don't take it that far.
I really don't care how another person, you know, I don't care if a person likes it or don't like it or put a comment or something like that. It's just people take
They take
social
it too
media,
far.
take
Oh,
it
yeah,
way
it's
too
too
far.
far.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with
even like with the Popeye's chicken sandwich. It's good and all, but it didn't. You don't have to kill people over it. You know, you're taking it too far. It's not all of that. You know, people.
Yeah.
You know, just by social media, I seen a line way down the street over this sandwich. Like, you know, you can wait another day or come back. Yeah, this is, you know,
Yeah.
you don't have
Yeah.
to do all of that.
See,
No.
You know,
No, it's
it's all right.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I know we're getting way off.
I know,
But, like,
I know.
but I'm saying
But I'm just
you
saying,
can
yeah.
you can use it for so much good, but like perfect example, right?
Yeah.
Will shared my event. That's cool if you don't share it. Like my feelings are not hurt. But think about how great everything could be if you shared that. I guarantee you Wednesday morning, if you look on your Facebook first thing in the morning, how many people share Warrant Wednesday?
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
They've shared the negative
Everybody.
stuff.
But why are we sharing?
I know.
You're not sharing the people who like share Warrant Wednesday
Yeah.
and like look at the comments. They're like, oh man, she's been doing meth or whatever.
Yeah.
But you keep sharing it
Yeah.
and you do all of that. You're not sharing it so that they can be like, oh snap, like
Let's catch this guy.
let's catch this guy. You're not doing it for that.
No.
You're doing that because you want to make fun of whoever.
Right.
Right.
But for what? Like
Right. What
you're
do you
and,
get out of what do you get
majority
out
of
of
people gravitate towards.
and then there,
negative.
This
there's
is true.
comments like, oh, I saw her at the gas station. She was begging for my like. What did that do? She's no closer to being in jail. She's no closer to getting help. Right? Like,
yeah.
True. Very true.
Now,
So that's your
back to
point.
back to the main thing.
sorry.
No, you good. Like with the
I told you I feel good once I start talking.
Yeah,
I love
you
it.
good. You good. That's good. Now, with going through the stuff you're going through as far as mental health or whatever, would you go back to the military? Would you do it all over again?
No. No.
You wouldn't go. Would
No.
you choose another branch?
Yes.
Okay.
If I had a gun in my head and I had to go back, I would not choose the Marine Corps. And I have 5 Marine Corps tattoos. Like I'm completely proud of my time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm proud of the Marine Corps, right? But knowing what I know now, I would rather not be in the Marine Corps. Entirely too many like alpha personalities, and like I just
You just didn't fall.
just too much.
into-
Just, like I just didn't.
That's just you went in that category.
Yeah, and I mean,
The-
but like going back again, right?
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't matter. It
Mhm.
shouldn't matter if I'm an alpha guy, like whatever the case, right?
Right.
I just, it's not, it
Yeah.
wasn't the group that I wanted. If I was going to spend 20 years, it wasn't the group that I could spend 20 years in.
mentally draining to continue on doing that for
Yeah.
8 years and
Yeah.
knowing.
I mean, at a certain point, right? Like I got to a point where I'm like, I know what the plan is. Because so if you serve 4 years and then you get out, you have 4 years inactive, which means they can call you today and like, yo, you got to be back in North Carolina next Thursday with all your gear and whatever, which means like for the next 4 years, like you got to stay like in shape, like all of that
I
kind of
didn't
stuff.
know that. That's
And, like,
interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know
But-
that either.
Yeah.
To, like you said, like mentally draining. Can you imagine serving 4 years and then coming home
Mm-hmm.
and then being back here, right? And then they're like, you go to work, and you work 3 12s and then you come home on a Friday and you're like, man, I'm going to have the next 4 days off. And there's a letter from FedEx that says, yo, you got to tell your work tomorrow that you're not coming back for another 8 months. And then like, you're gone, like you're back. Like,
And this is after the 4 years you've already served.
yeah. So I served 4 years. So I served 8 years.
Right.
So basically when I signed up, I signed an 8-year contract,
Okay.
which is, it's either 4 years active, 4 years inactive.
Okay.
So inactive is that period that I'm talking about, right?
Right,
Like where they
right.
can call you back. Or if you do a straight 8, then they
Mhm.
can't call you back.
Okay.
Wow.
So I was in North Carolina
Okay.
for 4 years. And then I was at headquarters Marine Corps for 4 years in Virginia. And they, the last duty station was great. Like it was a
Mhm.
little more like work. That
Okay.
in that area, like I got to do all sorts of sports stuff and all that
Mhm.
stuff because it was in
Nice.
DC.
hmm
So like that was cool. But yeah, like the environment was fun with certain people, right? But it's draining. Like I would be interested to talk. I would be interested to have this conversation. Like if we got a couple of other veterans,
Oh,
I would
yeah,
be
yeah.
interested to have that conversation and see if I'm right, wrong, indifferent. I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm
Get
just,
another perspective.
yeah. I'm
Right.
just being as honest as I
Yeah,
can.
yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So maybe we can make it happen. I don't know.
Yeah,
That'd be,
yeah,
that'd be
we'll
good for
definitely
our
look
show.
at it, make it happen.
Yeah, I would love it.
We have the whole.
It's so
Marines in
ironic
here.
that we did
No,
an interview today and it fell right after veterans. I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
Wow.
Smart.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know where I was on Veterans Day? At the Majestic.
Right.
I was
And you
there
enjoyed
too. I was
yourself,
there
and that's
too.
good.
That's good. That's good.
Y'all should have seen me. I had my first pair of J's on.
we know
Oh,
that.
But don't
Yeah.
worry, I got my Skechers back on now because they're they're comfortable.
You just keep us informed. We'll definitely be there for the next.
Yeah. What else you got? Will, shoot it at me.
I think it's time to wrap it up.
You
You
sitting
got
at
anything,
5.
Shauna?
You got anything else?
No, I mean we was just going with the flow. I mean
No.
we had this was a great discussion.
This was
I
amazing.
ain't gonna
Amazing
lie. I'm gonna
discussion.
put this in my top 3.
Oh,
This is
Definitely.
I will put this in my
Yeah.
top 3.
definitely.
Will.
All the way up. All the way up.
I'm
Ain't
joking.
nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, you know where.
That's it. That's for the show. That's for Dave. That's for all of us.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you got some
No,
last.
I'm just saying thanks, man.
Oh man,
Oh, yeah.
anytime, man.
Thanks, guys.
We
Thank you.
enjoyed you, Dave.
Thank
We
you.
really did.
Thank you.
Yeah, it has been our honor, our pleasure to have you on the show.
Yes.
When we started kicking this idea around about this show, you're the first person I immediately thought of.
Appreciate it.
And like you said, I know other veterans, but I immediately
Yeah.
thought of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Appreciate it.
Yeah, he presented it to us, and it was a go.
Yeah, I like I said, I like what you guys are doing. I came to Will and I told him some ideas that I thought just to like branch out and cover different things, and I
we
wasn't
was-
trying to
No, not at all.
fix
didn't-
y'all's show. I
we-
didn't think anything was wrong.
I
just,
didn't look at it like that.
We enjoyed everything you told us. That's why
Yeah.
we was like, yes,
Yeah.
we would love to have you
Yeah,
on here.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not the end all be all, right? Like I know Jake does great work. There's a lot of people in town that do great work. If everybody tried to if Jake came to the concert, right, and he said, "Hey man, this is what you're doing wrong, in my opinion,"
Right.
I'm the first guy that would be like, "Dude, thank you,"
Exactly.
Because-
absolutely.
because what, like I said, dude, I don't want to go off.
It's constructive
I don't want
criticism.
to keep going here. Like, can I pay for the other half hour? Like, I'm having a great time. Can we do that? I don't care.
No,
Anyway.
no, you're our guest.
I just feel like, dude, what? There's so much great stuff that we could do,
Absolutely.
Mhm.
right? Like, there's so many
Absolutely.
wonderful things, but like, why do people like? If you put on a concert in this parking lot right here and it's terrible, people will be like, "Man, you did a great job. Like, it was wonderful." but like, why not give somebody some constructive criticism, right? Like,
right.
Like,
Because I feel like people don't boost people up because sometimes they're jealous.
but for what? Like,
I know.
That's like,
But that's exactly what it is, though.
Yeah,
you're right.
Is somebody jealous of the concert that just happened on Saturday? Like, listen, I'm not one to pat myself on the back, but I stood on the third balcony and looked, and you know what? That show was awesome, dude.
Oh yeah,
that show was absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
it was well produced. It was on time.
Yes,
good. But I took criticism from people. I have a whole notebook full of information that people told me that might want to look at this, might want to look at this. You know what? None of the complaints were. No complaints about the sound, the lighting, like all of the stuff that like it's just, I don't know. There should be way more pumping of people up. And like I said, I'm not.
But people want the brass ring for themselves.
Yeah, that's how the world is right now.
Yeah.
They gonna look at just the negative part of everything.
Yeah. And see, people don't realize that when you uplifting the next person, that's feeding your bank.
Yeah.
You ain't doing nothing but moving forward yourself.
100%.
Help it. Yeah.
1,000,000%.
So it's all on how you look
it's
at
like,
it, I guess.
Like you said, if somebody was playing a guitar in the parking lot and they sounded perfectly, it's somebody on social media gonna be like, what is this guy out there doing with this guitar?
Yeah.
Everybody don't want to hear. It's always gonna be some kind of negative. Even though if he could be anybody out there, it could be Prince out there, and they can be like, well, I didn't like because he was playing next to the train station. It's gonna be something. It's always gonna be something. He should have had it somewhere else, or it's always gonna be something. You gotta just.
There's nothing wrong with supporting your next, your fellow.
Absolutely not. And that's why when Dave presented the concert to me, I said he's gonna have my support no matter what.
He definitely did.
No matter what, this guy will be there for you.
Right.
So I'm gonna try to be there for this guy here,
and then you was about
whenever I can.
You won't have me over here in tears.
I'm gonna wrap up the show. That's what I'm gonna do, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Non-Fiction. We have Dorikas. We have Shauna, Ill Will. Our special guest, Dave Sadler, was in the house.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Will. Thanks, everybody.
Tune in.
Tune in.
Thank you. Peace.
Peace.